One of the most common questions that I get from homeowners who are wanting to sell their home and get top dollar for their home is, Anita, what do I need to do repair-wise, or what do I need to upgrade in my home to get top dollar, or that will help it sell the fastest and with the highest price? So this video is going to be talking about all kinds of ideas that you can do to generate more activity within your home when you have it for sale. It'll help give tips and tricks about the things that are the most common, popular things that a buyer will want to have upgraded or repaired for you to sell your house at the top dollar and for the quickest time frame. And we're going to get to that right now. If we've never met before, my name is Anita Cordell, and I make videos about Kansas City, where to eat, where to sleep, what it's like to live in certain cities of the area, recreation, and I even talk about the weather. And I'm a licensed real estate agent, and I help people just like you buy, sell, relocate, and invest right here in our amazing city. And this video is going to be talking about specifically getting your house on the market and getting it sold for top dollar, and the things that you can do from a seller standpoint to help that happen quicker. Now, before I start, I want to invite you to write in the comments below if you have questions about your property, or if you have questions about anything that I say in this video that will help get your house sold. Be sure and list it below, because there's a lot of people that will watch the videos and they'll read those comments. It will help those viewers learn more about either the video, the content in the video, or Kansas City and beyond. Another thing is that in the description below, my contact information is there, including a link that goes right to my calendar, and you can click on that link and set up an appointment if you have any questions about your real estate goals, whether it's buying or selling. And oh, by the way, I want to be your real estate resource no matter where you're at. So be sure, give me a call or shoot me a text or send me that email if you are living in a different area and you need to sell or buy a home and you don't have a real estate agent. I am a part of huge networks, and I can be your real estate resource no matter where you're at. I can be your real estate resource no matter where you're at by helping you find a top-notch agent in one of my networks who has the same values and works just as hard as I do. So let's get into the video. This first part of this video is all about the exterior. So there's so many things that you can do to the exterior of your property, with sprucing up your garage, sprucing up your doors, fixing your driveway, doing landscaping. In fact, there are so many things just on the exterior part of it that I've created a video all in of itself about the curb appeal of your property. So if you want to dive deep into the curb appeal, be sure and click the link that is in this video. It goes into some in-depth examples about what you can do to your property. But the exterior of your property is the first major way that you can improve your property and help get it sold faster. Now, I do mention the front door area in my other video, but I wanted to hone in a little bit deeper into the front door area, because the front door is where the buyers are going to come in. That is almost technically their very first impression outside of where they park their car in your neighborhood and some of the things that are actually outside of your control. But the front door is their main first impression, and you really want to spruce that up. So some examples would be, you want to make sure that your doorbell works and that it's not cracked or falling off the wall or just discolored and stuff. So you want to spruce up your doorbell. Then the actual door itself, you want to make sure that it actually can open. There are so many times that when I will show a property for a buyer, and you will not believe how many times the keys don't work, or there's rust in the lock, and we spend 5 minutes just trying to get into the house. If you have difficulty getting into the home, your key doesn't work, or there's issues with it squeaking, or it's stuck all the time, fix that, because you just don't want to have the first impression being this. Then speaking of the door, if you have an old screen door and that screen door has, holes in it, or it's just not working properly, just replace it and make sure that you have something that is pleasing to the eye and easy to use. Another thing that you can do is to make sure that you have your doors lit up. And what I mean by that is to make sure that the porch light is working, and you can even spruce it up by putting putting like outdoor lights around if you have a porch or some kind of awning, so when people drive by, it'll be lit up and easily seen. And I promise you, there's going to be people that are going to drive by your property at nighttime and see what it's like in the dusk of night or when the sun's going down. And it's just a great feeling when your property has a welcoming vibe to it, and it will help people to feel like it's really going to be their home. And one last thing about the door and the outside, put your buyer hat on and go and look at your property from a ways away and just see how you feel and see if there's anything that sticks out to you. See if there's a flower that you can put near the front door or something that can spruce it up that you catch. And if you do that and put yourself in a buyer's shoes, you might be surprised at what you would want to actually upgrade. Let's move on into the interior of the home. So the first thing I want to talk about are floors. So if you have true hardwood floors, you need to consider yourself lucky. Hardwood floors are beautiful, and I would highly recommend that if you have hardwood floors, to go ahead and have them refinished, spruced up, and you will be amazed at how beautiful they are. Now, a lot of times people will ask me, Anita, do I change out everything for LVP or do I use carpet or whatever? It's kind of a personal preference. Floors are definitely something that you need to consider replacing. So especially if there are rooms that have stains in them, go ahead and replace the carpet and put new flooring down. Whether that's LVP or carpet, you'll want to replace the carpet. Those stains can make a buyer really have a feeling that the house is not kept up. And so you want to remove all of those concerns immediately. And floors are a great way to do that. If you walk in and your floors are beautiful, whether that's hardwoods or LVP or carpet in some areas, you will be surprised at how inviting and fresh your property will look. Now, I will say this about carpet. Don't do wall-to-wall carpet. Yeah, it's outdated and it's not trendy anymore. I don't mind if there's carpet in some of the bedrooms or if there's carpet on the stairs. And if you do stairs, do like a model type stair carpet, luxury carpet, in the sense of they have like a Berber inside carpet where it lasts forever. That was one of the best things that we did when we put carpet in our home. When we updated the flooring, the wear and tear of that type of carpet on the stairs makes it so much greater and it looks a lot nicer. So back to the carpet. When it comes to putting wall-to-wall carpet though on, I would highly recommend not doing that. It just feels very, very dated when you do that. Even if it's new carpet, people don't honestly like carpet for the most part in every single room, like dining rooms. That trend is out the door. When it comes to carpet, I don't mind carpet necessarily, but you don't want to do wall to wall. And if you can, spruce up the fresh hardwoods or put LVP down. Now, we're still talking about floors here. What I wanted to say is if you have hardwood floors and your floors are squeaky, there's a couple of different tips that you can do. Baby powder, honestly, is a little secret tip that some stagers use. All you do is you pour the baby powder down into the cracks, brush it down in there, and sometimes that will solve it or at least diminish the squeaking some. It doesn't always work, but it is a tip where you can try. Now, when it comes to tile floors, it is fantastic. Tiles can look really, really beautiful in like master bathrooms or even kitchens. I will say this, that I had a friend once who built a home and she wanted to have tile floors in the kitchen area and in the entryway. She, over time, started getting pain in her legs. She let me know that if she were to design her home over again, she probably would not have tiled her kitchen and all of her entryway because she was in her kitchen all the time. So if you have a choice of LVP or tile or even hardwoods or whatever in your kitchen area, you might want to do a little bit of research on the type of floors just so that you can pass it on to someone else, have them think that your home and your kitchen is just as beautiful as you do. And when it comes to laminate and vinyl flooring, they've come a long way. I'm not saying to not use those types of flooring, but they're not my number one choice for upgrading your floors. However, anything new is better than a very old and stained property that is not appealing to the eyes. With all that being said, flooring is key when you're wanting to make some really strategic decisions on getting your house sold quickly with some of those updates. So the next thing is walls and doors and trim and even ceilings. All of that getting a fresh uplift is so important. Now, I will tell you this is another way to save some money if you are wanting to make a fresh facelift per se on your property, but you don't necessarily want to paint all of the rooms. Try washing your walls. A lot of people don't know, but you can actually wash your walls in your house. Especially if your color in your walls are already painted a great staging color, you can go ahead and wash the walls and it might spruce up enough to where you don't have to actually paint the whole walls. Another thing that you can use is a magic eraser. It's another little tip that I tell sellers, especially if there's just a nick or two on the wall or a scratch or two, get the magic eraser cube and just get it wet and wash it down, and you never know, it might just come right off. Now, when it comes to ceilings, a lot of people do not like popcorn ceilings, so I would recommend getting the popcorn ceilings taken care of if you have the means and if you have the time. There's actually a scraper tool that you can rent from like Home Depot and Lowe's, and you can take the popcorn ceiling right off. It's not that difficult. You want to do it before you have a lot invested into time and energy when it comes to painting, because it will make a mess. And if you do make the decision that painting is absolutely necessary, then it is a great investment and it does spruce up your property. Now, the other area is lighting. You'll want to make sure that all the light fixtures work and there's not any cracked switches or anything that will deter from making it look kept. The other thing you'll want to do is to make sure that all of the burnt out light bulbs are replaced with working light bulbs, because there's nothing worse to walk into a home and a buyer is trying to see the full scope of your house and half of the light bulbs are burnt out and they're not working. That does not go very well. And it's not a real expensive upgrade. It's just putting the lights in that work. Now, also to make sure that all of the lights are the same color. You don't want to have a yellow tint in half of one room with white bulbs and then walk into another room and there be more of a blue tint. You want to really make sure that all of the lights in the house complement each other so it looks matching and it doesn't cause very confusing vibe, I guess is the best way to describe it. Now, this can be a little bit of an expense if you have not maintained your windows, but windows are the next thing that you might want to consider doing. The reason why is because there could be a broken or cracked glass in your window and you already know that that's going to show up in an inspection, and so you might as well get that repaired and make sure in the repairing of the windows that all the windows open and that they can easily be worked, because when the inspector comes, they are going to try and open up those windows and you will get a report about that. Now, let's move to the kitchen. So if you have painted your cabinets, make sure that you walk around and spruce up the paint. You can just touch up the paint so that it's all ready and fresh. Don't necessarily have to repaint your whole entire kitchen and all of the cabinets, but if you walk around and spruce up those scratches, it'll just freshen up the kitchen as a whole. The other things that you'll want to take a look at are the drawers. Make sure that they slide easily. Make sure that all the cabinet doors are open and that they're tightened. If there's any loose hinges or handles, just tighten them. Then also to have a look at the cabinets around the stove and any other places that might be affected by heat, wherever the toaster is or above any kind of kettle or microwave. Just make sure that all of the damage that any heat has caused is repaired. And when it comes to the hardware of the cabinets, you might want to consider replacing all of the hardware in the kitchen. It's not a huge expense, but it does make a big difference when a buyer is coming in and they see fresh hardware. Then when it comes to the cabinets, buyers do open up the cabinets in your kitchen. They will look at what you have in there. So make sure that if there's any drawers that aren't working or any cabinets that are really a mess, make sure that they're cleaned out and spruced up. And if there's any updates that you need to make within the cabinets, go ahead and make them at this time. All right, so moving on in the kitchen, you'll want to consider taking a look at your appliances, especially if if there's some things in your appliances that are not working, or if they are broken, make sure that they are repaired. Make sure that it's not a huge update that's needed. So say your stove is working just fine, but it is literally like 40 years old and you're trying to get top dollar for your property, you might want to consider replacing that stove. Same thing with the refrigerator. Now, when it comes to refrigerators here in Kansas City, refrigerators are an appliance that is negotiable. So the way that it works is if there's any appliance that is attached to the property, so that would be your stove, your dishwasher, if your microwave is attached to your wall and if it's mounted, then this would also include the microwave because those three are attached to the home. The refrigerator is something different and it is not necessarily what we would call attached. So therefore that means that the refrigerators are negotiable and they don't stay with the property unless you leave it. So my advice to sellers is if you can leave it, it's always a nice added plus for the new homeowners, and it's something that we can market that you are actually giving the new homeowners as well. Make sure that you look at those appliances, see if they are needing updated, and go ahead and take care of that when you're getting ready to put your house up on the market. Then that also would potentially include the backsplash. So make sure that when you're looking at the backsplash, there's not any big cracks. If you have the ability to remove any cracks and replace it with what is pre-existing, that's great. But if you don't have the means to do a full-on replacement of all of it, you can always just take it off and repaint or do something simple like that. Now, just like kitchens are really important, bathrooms and the bathroom updates are also really important. You want to do repairs like making sure your grouting and your caulking is done. You'll want to make sure that your medicine cabinet is working, and trust me, buyers are going to open up the medicine cabinet and look inside. So that leads me to just a safety tip really quick. If you have medicine in your medicine cabinet, be sure and take it all out, lock it away. You don't want anybody having any kind of accidents regarding your medicine. So just remove it all. But if your medicine cabinet is needing a little sprucing or needing an update, your medicine cabinet is a great option for you to do in the bathrooms. The other option is to update your vanity and your sink and your faucet. If you update those, say they're in an old style, you'll want to update those if you possibly can. And especially if your sink has cracks in it, you'll want to consider replacing the whole entire sink. Remember this, light and bright. So make sure that all the light fixtures are working and they have all the matching light bulbs and it's just really bright and airy inside your bathroom. Then make sure obviously that your toilets are working. Replace the toilet seat if it is at all damaged or discolored. Now that we've gotten all of the cosmetic things taken care of, I want to talk to you about doing a pre-listing inspection. You might ask me, why do I need to do a pre-listing inspection? Isn't that on the buyer? Well, yes, traditionally it is something that the buyer will do once the property is under contract. However, what I always recommend my sellers do is to just go ahead and do a pre-listing inspection. That inspection will allow for you as a seller to know the health of the home. You'll be able to see what kind of repairs are actually needed to be done versus just focusing on the cosmetic things. You'll also be able to take a look at those repairs and go ahead and do some of those repairs and have them done. And a couple of items you'll really want to focus on. One is water damage. If there's anything in the inspection report that shows up that is damaged by water, you are really going to want to take a look at that and make sure that you take care of that. And it could be that maybe there was a leak years ago and you forgot about a ceiling part that needed to be replaced, or a wall that had a little bit of warped drywall on it, or something of that nature. It may not necessarily be overtly large in repairs, and there's no concerns when a buyer comes through the property and takes a look at it. Now, I will say this, that if there is any water damage and there's mold in the property, you're really going to want to take care of that. I had a client once who did an inspection, and it was before they put the house up on the market, and they discovered that the ceiling in their attic was completely full of mold. They had been living there like that for years. And what happened was the property was about 30 years old, and whoever built the property built it in such a way to where the bathrooms upstairs had ventilation, but the venting went into the attic instead of through the roof. And for years, people were taking a shower and the steam was going through the attic and they had no idea. When the inspection was done, the inspector pointed up and suspected that there was black mold all across the ceiling. And so they had a mold remediation company come in and take it all and repair it and kilt it and get all of it taken care of. And so when they were ready to put it up on the market, all of that was remediated. Now, another really good reason why it's good to have a pre-listing inspection is when you are doing those repairs and those list of things that need to be done, then what happens is they're already done and your buyer is going to know that they are done. There won't need to be any negotiations when it comes to those specific items. Those are just some reasons why a pre-listing inspection is good to do, and you'll always want to know the health of the home anyway. The other item that you'll really want to take care of if it shows up in a pre-listing inspection is any kind of pest damage or any kind of pest concerns such as termites or carpenter ants. Those types of pests are very common here in the Kansas City area. They might not necessarily be common in your area, but they are here. There's a really popular saying here in Kansas City when it comes to termites, and that's, it's not a matter of if you get them, it's a matter of when. Or if you do a termite inspection and you discover that there's termites, you'll want to go ahead and have those remediated. And also, if there are any boards that are damaged or anything at all that needs to be replaced or repaired, you'll want to make sure that that's taken care of as well. I hope this video is helpful to you as you are getting ready to sell your home. And if you have any questions at all about your real estate goals, be sure and click on my Calendly link in the description and you can set up an appointment and we'll talk about that. And as always, go out and live your best Kansas City life.